Assalamu Alaikum everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to talk about recession. Some of you asked me recently, what am I doing? And you probably have seen these type of headlines in the last few weeks. It can be a little bit scary. So in today's video, what I'm going to do is to talk about recession. Okay, a recession might be uncertain time, but the best thing you can do is to be proactive and take steps right now to help you and I stay on top of our finances in these stressful times. Let's have a look at what we can do. Okay, as a community, I'm just going to give you some ideas. This is my ideas. This is some of the things that I'm doing. Okay, just to make sure that I'm ready for it. Okay, and I will give you at the end, I will let you know what I'm doing in terms of investment side of things. Okay, so let's get started. So these are the two questions we're going to try to answer. Okay, what is a recession and how to invest during a recession time? That's basically what we're going to do. Right, so the first thing we're looking at is what is a recession? A recession is often defined as a 2 consecutive periods of gross domestic product decline, so the GDP of a country, marking period of consistent contraction of the economy. So the economy shrinks for about 2 quarters. Okay, that's basically how it's defined. Now, normally it lasts about, according to Forbes website, it lasts about 11 months or so. Sometimes it can last longer, and that's something that we're going to look at next. Okay, but let's just dig deeper. Okay, but when we say contraction of economy, what does that really mean? Or like we're shrinking them out, what does that actually entail? What does that actually mean? So this is what happens. Okay, we've got 2 quarters where basically GDP declines, right? What happens? People stop buying things, so they buy less. When people are buying less, what happens? The business, okay, that has those products and services will suffer because there's no one to buy their products. Then what happens? They obviously have to make some tough decisions because they can't be paying salaries, right? They have to cut costs. So what do? They get rid of people, and people lose their job. If you lose your job, you're not going to pay for stuff. You're not going to buy more stuff, right? And if you don't have the money from basically coming in from the customers, then you're not going to hire anybody. So this vicious cycle basically continues for a long time. And the government will step in, and there's a lot of other things the government will do to kind of reduce recession and basically start encouraging more companies to take more employees and so on. And then, then it becomes basically come out of that somehow. But normally it takes about 11 months or more. So in that period of time, what is it that we need to do in order to prepare ourselves? Okay. In fact, let me just quickly show you before we move on. Okay. Since 1926, okay, this is how long each recession has lasted. Okay. As you can see here, from 13 months to 43 months to basically the shortest one, which we've seen 2 years ago, and that was 2 months. Because of the lockdown, it was very short. When we realized this is not as bad as we thought, and the economy can still continue, we just have to do all the quarantine, all that stuff. It basically things got better and so on. But as you can see here, it can go up to 13 months or 43 months or 8 months. And so it could be 6 months, it could be 8 months. Nobody knows. So what is it that you need to do to take care of yourself and make sure that you come on, when we come out of this, okay, your financials are still intact? And the first thing you need to do is take control of your financial priorities. Okay, and what I mean by that is there are a few questions that you need to ask yourself. You're going to have to take control of your financials, obviously, because it's a tough time. There's not a lot of money around, but some of the things that you need to do is look at your financials. So there are a few questions you need to ask yourself, and I'm asking that same questions myself. Okay, how much cash do I have on hand right now? That's the first one. How much cash can I get my hands on quickly if I need to? If something happens, can I get that cash? Okay, how much debt do I currently have? Credit cards, student loans, you name it. Okay, because you need to know what you're paying for, and so on. You need to know your expenses, right? What are my basic monthly living costs? So you need to know how much you spend in every single month on food, shelter, health, healthcare, transportation, children, you name it, whatever it is. How much is your expenses right now? Do you have any major life events coming up? Okay, that will need significant amount of money. So for example, you might be getting married soon. You might have a baby coming. You might be retiring soon. You might be buying a house. Whatever the case might be, you need to also look into that and say, okay, what is it that I need in the next whatever? So once you have these questions and you've answered these questions, then they will give you a clear idea of where your financial situation is. Then you can start prioritizing. You can start looking at prioritizing, right? And that leads us to the next thing, which is focus on debt repayment if you are able to. Okay, debt is a killer. So you need to think about how much debt you have and start paying it as quickly as you possibly can, because you want whatever cash you've got to be just for you. Okay, because otherwise, if you've got a lot of debt and your income somehow stops, then you're going to be in trouble. So you need to focus on that and make sure that you pay off that debt as quickly as you possibly can. The other thing that happens, okay, in this kind of situations is people lose their job. So consider your career opportunities, both now and in the future. So this is where I will say to you, you might want to have a side hustle or extra job. So by looking at what you're currently doing, can you offer your company? Because remember, when companies are not, if you go back quickly, right? If companies are no longer hiring people and people are losing their job, what is going to make that company keep you in the business? What is it that you offer right now that is crucial to the company? And if that's not the case, then maybe look into basically skilling up just to find out other things that you can do. Maybe do a course that you need to do, right? Whatever it is, or even basically get a side hustle, get another job, start teaching online courses every night, or whatever it is. You need to find another stream of income just in case you lose your job, because it can happen. Okay, and it's really important to you focus on that, because if you don't, you're going to be in trouble. So if you lose your job and you have a debt and you have a family, then it can be a problem. Okay, so try to find another source of income, and not only that, maybe within your company, make sure that you are skilled enough to be able to sustain this crazy situation that we end up in, okay, in a recession. So when the company starts cutting, you are not one of those people. Okay, so think about that. The other thing you need to think about, and I'm definitely thinking about right now, okay, is to strengthen your emergency fund. Now, let me explain what this means for those who are new to us. Okay, well, I've talked about this emergency fund before. If you are investing right now and you do not have 3 to 6 months of emergency fund, then you are in trouble. Then you need to stop investing and focus on your emergency fund. What is emergency fund? So you need to look at your current expenses, add up the whole thing every single month. How much do you need? How much money do you spend on basically every single month? Then you need to multiply that by 3 or 6, depending on which one you want. Okay, I normally will say 3 to 6 months at least. I'll go with 5. Okay, go 5 months. Okay, for the next. So if you lose your job, then that emergency fund will be used for the next 5 months while you're looking for a new job. So it will help you and your family. Okay, if you have a family, then obviously it's stressful. So you need to think about that. You need to make sure your emergency fund is actually big enough for you at least to live off at least for the next 3 months without having to worry too much, because that's the most important thing. So stop investing if you haven't got one yet. Build that cash. Make sure you put it into the account where you can access it anytime you need that money. 3 to 5 months, 6 months, whatever. Okay, and leave it. So calculate everything you spend every single month, add up the whole thing together. Then you need to find 3 to 6 months of that money. Even if it takes you in the next 6 months, fine, do it. Once you've got that, then you can start, investing. The final thing, the fifth and the final thing I want to talk about is this thing here. You can't stop investing. You have to keep investing. Why? Because a lot of the companies that we own in our portfolios have been around, have been through recessions after recessions. Okay, boom and gloom, they've been there. Some of them have increased and paid dividends during those times. So the best thing to do is, everybody else will be fearful. Remember what basically Warren Buffett said: be greedy when others are fearful. When others are fearful, and vice versa, basically. Okay, be greedy when others are fearful. Okay, be fearful when others are greedy. So when people are actually booming, when the economy is booming, everybody is talking about stocks. Like the 2021, everybody was talking about stocks. We're going to the moon. And what do we have? Basically, we have 6 months of decline in the stocks and so on. And people were all over the place. People are crying. Portfolios went negative and so on. So yeah, that is basically one of the things that I genuinely want you to keep doing, is keep investing. Once you've sorted out your other priorities, and you made sure you know how much you basically got in your bank, you got your emergency fund, you have reduced your debt, all of those things, you make sure you upskill in terms of your skills and work-wise, then keep investing. However small, keep investing. Buy stocks that you love, that you know about, and so on. And some of the companies, okay, and the industrials that actually do well during this time is this. Okay, let's start with the sectors first. Healthcare, obviously, for obvious reasons, everyone needs those drugs. For example, food and restaurants, okay, right, and logistics. People need to move things around the country, and DIY and repairs. What I mean by that is, people will stop buying brand new houses. They will still basically do a little bit of DIY themselves. They don't have to buy a brand new house. They will fix the door themselves instead of buying a new door, and so on. They will repair their old cars. They're not going to buy a new car, and so on. So that is really important. Okay, so the companies that you could potentially look into are companies like Procter & Gamble, that basically sells home, basically consumer products that are actually needed. Home Depot is another one that is the DIY side of things. Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, they're both pharmaceutical companies that we need. Okay, General Mills when it comes to snacks and food and so on. Sherwin-Williams, again, going back to the repairs and so on. People will want to paint their own houses instead of buying a new one. AutoZone is another company that does all the car repairs. Okay, and then Waste Management, we need someone to come and collect our garbage, right? That's it. So these are the type of companies that will be around and have been around during recessions in the previous whatever. So yeah, these are the companies. That was what I'm doing right now. I'm still investing. I'm dollar cost averaging. I'm basically mindful of how much I'm actually spending on things. I'm cutting holidays and things like that until we get a clear idea of what's going on. As you know, everything is gone up in the UK. It's not a great time right now. Everything is going up and the government is not actually helping anybody. So you just have to think about yourself and your family, put yourself first. But whatever you do, however small, okay, keep investing. It doesn't matter how small it is, just keep investing. That is what I'm doing. That is what some of the ideas that I've had in my mind I wanted to share with you today. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu Alaikum.